Hello, everybody. This is Love from Above by your Sibling Spirit Guides. I'm Maureen, and this is my brother.
Hey Maureen, hey everyone, this is Brian.
Hey, Brian. We're so happy to be here. If you can believe this, on this podcast, we share daily channelings we receive from star beings, ascended masters, mythical beings who really exist, and occasionally our ancestors. And Brian, we've been doing this now we're in our second year, and a lot of the topics tend to repeat about love and diet and the need for meditation. But this is a first. Sexuality and joy. Wow. These are hot topics, right, Bri?
Yeah, sex sells. Let's see if this could be our most downloaded episode. We'll have to see. Um, but yeah, we've been talking about this one because we did get, the one message about this, and then, I was looking for other messages to tie with it, and on the same type of subject. And then I didn't even realize I'd looked at our archives and we had some that I wasn't even aware of. So, but then we did get one sort of recently that brought up the subject. So anyway, I thought now's the time to talk about it. So excited to talk about this. What are your thoughts on the subject?
Well, I think it's so interesting because there are a lot of interesting information about in this podcast, but their views of sex are very different from certainly the views of sex that we were raised of in a Catholic home. And so anyway, let's just dig into it. I'll start off with a session that was from November 11th of last year, 11/11. And this is about sexuality and joy. We are present. We liken ourselves to the proverbial ghost in the mirror, fly on the wall, for we are ever present, observing and often directing human activities. We are one with the Creator. Their intentions are ours. So release any fears about our intrusion into your physical self. We come now to speak about certain matters not often discussed. We speak, of course, of your sexual activities and sexual reproduction. There are many who have attempted to curtail the natural instincts to unite under the umbrella of love, whether it's love for a moment or for many lifetimes. We do not prescribe to the so-called morality of your culture. However, we do imbue a proclivity with which we would like to discuss. Okay, so I'm going to just stop right there because there's so much good stuff in all of this. So, what do you have to say about what we've shared so far, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense that the morality of our culture and sort of the Puritan nature or Christian ethic around sex is something. And I think we were mentioning this before, but when we were talking before this, but like in other countries, especially Europe, there's not the sexual hangups or that this morality around sex than that is in the United States. So I think it's just healthy just to, it's a natural thing and there's nothing wrong with it. So um I think I like how they do not prescribe to the so-called morality of your culture. No, I
Yeah, and
love
do you want to continue? Because actually, the next
yeah.
sentence is actually exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
so
So,
then it goes on to says the creator imbued in humanity the sexual urges, not just to procreate as a few of your religions prescribe. The sexual inclination is a pull towards another, a draw towards an inner desire to be fulfilled. This, in a microcosm, is a draw to be united with the Almighty. We see that you grasp our deeper meaning, we shall move on. There are others who can speak more eloquently than the abrupt manner which we converse. But anyway, that's the bottom line of is, that it's a draw to another, and Um, the creator imbued sexual urges not just for procreation, but you know, for joy. So let's get on with get rid of all the hangups and negative associations with sex, and it's just natural and something that, of course, consenting adults should be, you know, able to do whenever they want. So anyway, that's my view on it. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it and you think about anything that does really have a pull. Like you can feel pulled to, relocate to new house or take a trip somewhere. But I mean, really that sexual pull is something, it's written in all of our songs and our books and, for eons. And because it's such a strong pull. So yeah, and I like the fact that when you feel that pull, I mean, you're really feeling the pull towards the one creator. So yeah, I think it's beautiful. I'll go on. They said, as with apparently new beings who can communicate in a more eloquent way, they said, joy is ever present, like a flock of birds in the air. So think about it. You never think about but there's always birds in the air. If you look up in the sky right now, I promise you can find a bird in the air. Ground beneath your feet. However, the energy of ever-present joy is likened to a wave that must be lifted up to the surface, the fish that must be caught. Now, a fish that must be caught is ever present, but is in your life, in your net, and on your plate. You must provide action to align with what you wish. The action is a simple desire to experience joy in the moment, for the moment is now, and that's where we see humans miss the glory of the present moment, for their minds wander like a lost child. This requires dedication and practice, but the results are overwhelmingly worth it. We encourage you to begin today with bringing the thoughts to the present moment, celebrating the joys of each second. It shall transform your being as well as your life. Wowee. So, yeah, just another message to stay in the present moment.
Yeah, another consistent theme we've got. So I think that was like the main one. But then I went back and found this message from November 25th of last year, and this is sort of a doozy, I thought. It's about changes to sexual reproduction. And this sounds like something out of a Hollywood movie, but this is what they say. Oh, you said they want to talk about sex. The sexual reproductive matter of the human shall undergo the greatest change. This evolutionary process for the implantation of the soul in the long gestational period will be abbreviated like the time that has adjusted to the new pace in this planet. Um, these standardized moments shall be adjusted. What will what will that mean for the individual birthing process? It shall require an equal shared responsibility between the male and female personas. Let me just stop there. So, I'm not sure how this is all going to work, but I guess guys, it's we have a much bigger part in the birthing process. So I don't know how you I'm sure women are excited about this. And um anyway, what are your thoughts as a woman that's given birth to two children?
Well, and the big headline for me, besides the male will have equal responsibility, is it's going to be shortened. So, I
Yes.
mean, really, if you look at it, it's 9 full months. So it's almost 10 months of being pregnant. And for those of you who've experienced it, but it is such a joy, Brian. I mean, there is no feeling like having your own baby inside you. Like it is just, and it was funny, when I was pregnant the second time, I knew before I even missed my period. I mean, I just knew that, another being was with me. And so it's a blessing, but how is this going to all work out? Like, I have no idea.
I know this is crazy. And so said for now, the male perspective is often considered a limitation due to the brevity of the actual implantation of the sperm within the ovum. These processes shall be adjusted as the quality of the sexes balances out in this glorious new world. And we've heard about this, right? That women are definitely equals and will be equals in all aspects, moving forward. But we give this as but one example of the tremendous change upon this planet. So anyway, that really wraps that one up. But that's a doozy. I don't know what else
And
does.
if you take that last sentence, this is but one example of a tremendous change on this planet. That's a big change, brother. That's a huge change. And if you're talking about, oh, we got many more like that, like that's, it's mind blowing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
absolutely mind blowing. So you ready? Are you ready to equally share in this responsibility, brother?
Well, I don't know if I'm yeah, if I may be beyond that age, but I don't know. You never know. So I'm not saying I'm open to anything. I'm open to anything. I'll just leave it out there. Not sure what that's going to look like, but I'm open to anything. So,
Oh gosh. Well, I'll continue. This is a message we got in last week, and boy, I thought this was a really powerful message. And I'm actually the visualization that came through with this, Brian. I'm using this every day with my meditations now. But they begin by saying there's been much disruption in the lives of many. We speak to those who wish to return to the days of the past where the known was solidly understood. Those days, however, the jettison of the present trajectory spins in a new manner, which you shall become accustomed to. However, at this time, many find the turbulence to be disruptive to their personal lives. Know that we're always here providing gifts of loving support along the way. Everything is always as intended. There are few, if any, general calamities in one's life. So yeah, I'll stop right there. Boy, I'm seeing a lot of yeah, I was just telling Brian before we started to record this, there's like a big strike today where I am in Bolivia, and there were protests when I was in Peru a few weeks ago. So there's just and I know there's been a bunch of stuff going on in the United States too. So it does seem like there's a lot of tumultuous times here right now, right, Bri?
yeah, but like they said, everything is always as intended. So, um, and I think the one thing that other messages have said too is although it is a tumultuous time, there is a lot positive going on that doesn't, of course, that's what doesn't, that the news media doesn't cover, all the positive stuff. So, that's
Right.
too boring. But anyway, so not to lose sight of that, I think there's still a lot of great stuff going on, even though it is a tumultuous time.
Yeah.
Oh, but they go on
Um,
to say, so there are few, if any, general calamities in one's life. If one were to review their existence of one lifetime, they would see that every crossroads brought them to a beneficial opportunity. So too with these moments. And at just stopping there, I mean, I think that's so true, where there could be times in all of our lives where it seems like, oh, this is horrible, what I'm going through, but in the end, it's really, probably the best thing that could have happened to you, or it's in the long term, it's the best thing that could have happened. Don't you agree?
oh yeah, absolutely. There's a gospel song by Kurt Franklin that I love called Blessing in the Storm. And, I was in my 30s when I realized like, oh, when these storms come, they bring big blessings and, not to focus on the storm anymore, but like, okay, where's the big blessings? Because I know they're here. And so yeah, that's absolutely true. So then they go on to say, and we're so fortunate with this Brian, I mean, they're always attending to us. They said we shall attend to the brother and sister as they adjust to these new realities. And we wish to extend this opportunity to any who can hear this message. So if you're hearing this message, they are willing to help you to adjust to these new realities. We are the light forces who work through the one creator to spread love and joy throughout all realms of existence. You have portrayed us in times past as angelic beings of worship. However, we deter you from these idolatry phases, for no one is above the other. Each carries their own personal resonance and the presence of the one creator. So I'm going to stop there. Like that's just beautiful. And I've read about this a lot too, that, we're not supposed to put the angels up on as higher beings than us because as human beings, we have a really important role to play too. Have you read the same?
Yeah, and it reminds me of Thoth that always says it's about the message, not the messenger. And I think that's what they're saying there too. So that, everyone's equal. And so it makes totally sense that that's that's their approach and that's how it should be, I believe.
Yeah. So they go on to say, all are representative of the love of the one through our personal expression. Oh, how we dote on our humanly framed brothers and sisters. These opportunities that you behold on earth are but brief glimpses of what is possible. Many graduate and return to service others in their present life forms. These you may know as ghosts or friendly spirits from departed loved ones. Either way, they rush forward to service. If you could imagine a commander rushing onto the battlefield with only his or her sword aloft, that would seem ridiculous. The general who commands needs an army behind him. You, whoever is listening to this message, you have an army behind you, an army of light beings who are readily available to assist. Do not rush forward with your sword raised alone. Nothing can be accomplished. You shall only come across frustration and disappointment. There needs to be unification between the multiple realms of existence. Once this is achieved, anything is possible. So, Brian, I am now using that image of like raising a sword of light and going out into the void, everything that is, and not just being by myself, but like just being surrounded by these heavenly beings. And it's such a beautiful experience. But I've been doing that every day since I got this message. Have you tried with that visualization at all?
No, I really haven't. So that's something that I will need to try that, but I definitely need to do that. So it does seem like it's something that I can see the power of it for sure. So it makes sense. But the tying to our subject today, then they go on to say, you may, who are listening, connect to the one through devoted prayer, chanting, meditation, or through your own personal expression of joy. This may be through sexual intercourse or through a personal hobby, which brings you great pleasure. So, anyway, I thought that just ties it into our subject today. So, again, there's no hang-ups, just whatever brings you joy is or brings you pleasure is something that you should do. So
Yeah, yeah. Um, so yes, and that is, joy and sex. I don't eat peanut butter and jelly, but it's like peanut butter and jelly. They should go together, right, Bry?
yep, perfect. So then the last thing that on the subject was from back in March 8th of 2024. Um, and this was, I think this came from with the Watchers, but we're talking about the Cedars. If but anyway, but it says we shall continue on our quest to educate, inform, and enlighten those who can hear our words about the true origins of all planets. For this planet, We used host forms, which means that the birthing process was done with a volunteer. These volunteers sacrificed greatly to bring onto this planet numerous life forms which could not exist without the hosting process. These unisex beings, all right, I'm stopping right there. The unisex beings. All right, I got a lot of questions. How does that work? And but anyway, volunteered to deliver are indeed recognized for their valiant efforts in this way humans were initially birthed. This process took place long ago in a fertile area of your lower half of your planet. We picked this location because the abundance uh, for the abundance fertility of plants to sustain the human life form. But anyway, so how do you like that? The original humans were birthed from unisex beings that hosted them. That's a lot to unpack, Maureen. What do you think?
Actually, brother, that is easier for me to believe than shortening the human gestation process and have men being equal.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to believe that because that happened a long time ago, and we know we were seeded on this planet and by star beings, and so that's not a huge leap. But the message that the gestation part process is going to shorten and men are going to have an equal part on it, I think that's the doozy. That's the doozy of this episode, brother.
Yeah. I gotta publish that to Twitter for sure. That's crazy. I think I remember when that came out. I was like, whoa. And well, maybe we discussed it, but anyway, I totally forgot about that. So I mean, that's we have so many little gems like that are just hidden in our archives here. We're trying to get through to everything with all this good information. So
Yeah, yeah. And again, we're still working on volume one and we'll have it out later this year. So you can, there's a lot of, just really important, insightful information. And then it's nice to see the consecutive, we're picking out episodes from this date and this date because they all kind of coincide on the same topic. It would be nice to kind of see them in consecutive order as they came in. So I think that will be helpful to our listeners. But thank you, Brian, for pulling this together. This is a gem.
all right. All right. Thanks everyone. We'll talk to you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.